Welcome to another video from Gweilo 60. Today we're walking down Huoju, and Huoju is a place where I live. You notice that I'm not afraid to tell people where I live. All over the world, whether I'm a CCP shill or whatever, and people look at me when I walk around with a camera like I'm a little bit crazy. Like these girls behind me, you can tell. It's not my fault. I am a bit crazy. But you see, the thing is that because I don't spout hate, because I'm part of this community, and I've been part of this community in this particular spot for well over 12 years now. I sort of know just about everybody. Sure, the new people coming into the university have no idea who I am, but within 6 months, everybody knows who I am, who my wife is, where I live, and because I'm the only Gweilo on the block. Sure, they got teachers that come and go from the university, but there's really no long-term foreigners in this area of Nanning, except for, yeah, yours truly. And I've sort of grown to embrace my street, my community, the area. See, this is a blood bank right on the street. Everybody just comes in here and gives blood. Gotta love that, eh? Right by the university, all that young blood. Oh yeah, you know. Who says Chinese guys are small? Look at these guys. Hello. How big they are. Wow. Hello. They're huge. You know, so if you say Chinese guys are small, I beg to differ. But the thing is that living in a community like this and being part of the community in China is no different than being in a community in the United States or Yuma, Arizona, or Prince Albert, Saskatchewan, where everybody around the area sees you every day, and they notice that you're part of the community, and they'll actually talk to you as much as they can. And I sort of like that. You know, this place is become home for me. I used to live in Prince Albert, Saskatchewan. Yeah, colder than a witch's tit, I tell you. And you got a 2-month summer before it gets cold again. Yeah, 2 months of fishing, and then time to get the hell out of there. So when I sold my place in Prince Albert, Saskatchewan, and bought a place on Vancouver Island about the same time, the only place that I really felt at home was in Nanning China, at my place on Huoju, which is a little weird because I'm a foreigner living in China, feeling better about my life in China than I do about my life in Canada. I feel more at home here than my life in Canada, which is, as I say, strange. Why? Because I've spent 12 years on this street, and I've only had my place on Vancouver Island in Nanaimo for, I don't know, coming up on 3 years now. But in that 3 years, I think we've only spent 18 months there. And the only reason we spent 18 months there is because Wei Feng got sick. If she wasn't sick, we would have spent all that 18 months here in China, in Nanning, on Huoju. Why? Because we both like it here. We go for supper in Canada, you know, you might get a half-ass meal for 50, 60 bucks. Then you gotta give another 15 bucks tip. So you're looking at, you know, $65, $75, and you come home and you feel like you've been ripped off. Here, if you spent 75 bucks, wow, you're getting a 350 RMB meal. You can eat your face off for that. It's just so much better here. The dollar goes further. The food is better. The climate is better. The people are kinder. There's no violence. This is one of these places, I'm telling you, that if every Westerner had a chance to come here for, say, 1 month and live like I do, they would change their mind on China instantly. And if they had enough money saved up that they could live here comfortably, they would move here. Sort of like I did. And I have no regrets about moving to China. I like it here. It's the women are beautiful. Even though I'm married, it's vitamins for my eyes. As soon as I get here, because when I'm in Canada, I'm squinting all the time and I can't see. But when I get over here, because there's so many vitamins for my eyes, that I can see a lot better. Maybe it's the air, maybe it's the sunshine, maybe it's the warm weather, maybe it's the brandy. I don't know. And I get, every once in a while, I get comments on my channel about drinking brandy. I was having a bit session with Serpentier and Lao 86 the other day on that WeChat group that I bounced from, and they really weren't happy with me and whatever. But then Serpentier's little yap dog got in there and started barking, like, you know, like those little dogs that hump your leg and bark and yap and shit like that. And the first thing coming out of his mouth, "You drink brandy?" Well, yeah, I do. "You don't speak much Chinese?" "Nah, I don't." "You're as old as my dad." "Oh, your dad's old." You know what I mean? Like, it's like, bark, 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 bark. Oh, fuck. You know, I really don't care what these people think. And then, you know, and wow, you know my opinion on this stuff. So as I walk down my street and digress into all of the things that make me happy or make me sad, I have no responsibility. Yeah, I know. It's nice to see in Canada. Sure, we could live in Canada and live fairly well in Canada. And we do. When we're in Canada, we live fairly well. We can go out. We can pretty well do whatever we want. But in China, you times that by 5.4 because the Chinese RMB is 5.4 to the Canadian dollar. So we can, if you can go out and you can eat and drink like a king in Canada, in China, you can go out and eat and drink like a frickin' king. Yeah, and all of his merry men. And you know what? We actually do that on a regular basis. With Lisa, we go out once a week. May Run, we go out once a week. With Xiaoping and Ling, we go out once every 2 weeks for supper. Plus, Wei Feng and I go out about as much as that on our own. So we very seldom spend any time eating at home. Breakfast every day. I cannot remember a time in China where we had breakfast at home. Why? Because it's cheap. You go out, it's like, you know, some of the most expensive breakfast is dim sum, and you might spend 20 bucks for 2 people on dim sum. Or with our regular soups or pierogies, dumplings. See, I gotta get away from that Ukrainian stuff. Daryl, my brother-in-law is Ukrainian, so I know what pierogies are. You know, and that's like 20 RMB for 2 people. So you go out and you get, for under $4, you've got your breakfast. It's unreal, the life that we live here in China. We got e-bikes. We've got friends with cars. I used to have a car, but I got rid of that puppy because I never used it ever. You know, we used it for this first 6 months, sat for a year, and then I just sold it. But you can rent, and I'm gonna rent a Yulin van, head for Bobai here shortly. But in the next 2.5 weeks, we're off to Kuala Lumpur, and then we're gonna sort of slow roll our way from Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia up through Thailand, hopefully end up in Chiang Mai, Thailand, and spend some time there, just because it's gonna get cold here and we really don't like the cold weather. So we're gonna, and cold weather I mean by like 15 degrees Celsius, 12 degrees Celsius. Hell with that shit. I'm out of here. I'm going for places that are 28 to 30 degrees because I like it warm. And I'm sure that they have beer there too. I wonder if they've got really good brandy. Anyway, That's another video from Gweilo Sexy. If you like this video, as always, like, comment, subscribe, push that share button, and thanks for watching. Check your subscribe button and don't forget the children. The Patreon account has been turned into a foundation for poor rural children in China. If you've got a couple bucks in your pocket, stick it on the Patreon account. Make me proud. Thanks for watching. Bye now.